Hello, everyone. In solidarity, I'll turn on my webcam really quick. But okay, maybe I will surround myself by a bunch of boxes. But hello, everybody. My name's Gavin, and welcome to the first panel of the night, the streamer audience panel. I'm joined by all these lovely profile pictures. I'm joined by Droit the Bold. Hello, Droit. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Droit is a longtime viewer to stream. I think with him and maybe long-time viewer is not the right word, but an often-time viewer of the stream. So I think Droid and Romulus, who's also on the panel, combined. If you combine their viewing hours on the stream, it would probably be double that of everyone else who's ever watched my stream combined. I'd be willing to say. I think the only person who's a close third, and I don't know if it's actually that close, is probably Valiant. We are joined by Romulus. Hi, Rom. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. Long-time viewer, first-time caller. Love the radio show.
We got our boy Dro. Oh, he is on webcam. Oh, it's the Batman. Let's go. Droid's his actual identity is Batman. He literally the first time he joined our voice call, he just kept in Batman voice for like the first entire night. It was the best. Um, Romulus is one of our friends we mentioned from the Plan Our Marches team, but he's kind of stuck around, and we've had a pretty good relationship since. He is our long running Discord mod, but the positive version of a Discord mod. I don't know if like the average Discord mod is chaotic evil. Romulus is lawful good. I would like to think. We are joined by Blitz the Spartan, who I'm increasingly convinced that if I ever become rich and famous, I want Blitz to be my secretary. How are you doing today, Blitz?
I'll keep that in mind when you make it big.
Blitz, really, really, if I ask him, he's part of so many of our groups. He's a part of our Ace Attorney group. He joins us for fighting game nights very often. He joins us for visual novel nights often. And if I need something done, I'll usually go to Blitz because he's very likely to be able to get it done for me. And then we have Three Steps Far. Hello, Three Steps Far, aka Clever Username, aka Cody. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Hello.
Three Steps Far is a longtime personal friend of mine. Often on each other's lives, this seems to be one of those waves where we very much intersect in interests and etc. We He has recently started streaming and will be also joining us later on for our streamers poll. But I'm also bringing him on as in this panel because Three Steps Far has been so active in our Twitch chat, and as our newest regular, and I'd like to say he is absolutely a regular at this point. I would love to hear his insights on where did you come from? Why are you here? Right? So we have limited time here, so I have a few questions I want to ask you guys. And so this panel's focus is the idea of what makes a good quote unquote stream audience, what makes a good viewer, right? And that's a two-part thing, right? So part of it is, are you a good audience member because you want the streamer to be good, or is the streamer good and that's why you're an audience member, right? And it's sort of like for smaller communities, it's kind of like a give and take. It's kind of like a pull one side or the other, right? I want you to be better because I like who you are, and so I'm going to be a good stream audience member, or vice versa. So, with that in mind, I'm going to ask a general question to the room, and I'll go ahead and ask for responses one on one. But a common question that you hear is, what made you start watching a stream? And that's not really the question I want to ask tonight because I feel like that's the first question that you'd go to if you had a panel on streaming audiences. I want to kind of ask the next logical question, okay? What makes you continue watching a streamer longer term? I mean, more than just that flavor of the month, like I was just here for a moment, right? And as a follow up, and you don't have to answer, you can answer one or the other of this or both. What makes you stop watching a streamer, either short term or long term? Droit, what do you think? What makes you watch a stream long term? What makes you stop watching streams?
I think a streamer needs to be at least somewhat decent at whatever they're doing. That's definitely one of the things that makes streamers interesting to me. and it's nice when they have a rapport with their audience. That's something I like to see.
Okay. By the way, Twitch chat, speaking of rapport with audiences, feel free to ask any questions you have during the stream. We'd love to chat with you guys throughout the night. I'll be taking questions from you guys, and we'll have a dedicated Q&A later. Rom, what do you think? What are your opinions on long-term stream viewers, and what would make you stop?
Yeah, great question. I think it's very important that all the streams that I watch be either incredibly handsome. So that's why I stick around the Gavin XI stream personally. Second most important thing, of course, is personality. Yeah, I like streamers who have a good time playing the games that they want to play. And like Droid said, especially for a smaller streamer, I think you definitely have to engage your chat if you're here on Twitch. And why I would stop watching somebody? I don't know. I'm really bad because I don't watch too many streams, but
Yeah, and it's kind of an optional question because of that, right? Because some people just aren't channel surfing Twitch, right?
Yeah, and I'll put this one on Twitch chat. I think sort of a corollary to why I stick around watching a streamer is they have to have a nice community, and the folks around here are pretty good folks. So
That's the nicest
stay on
thing.
your toes, unmodded Twitch chat.
The nicest thing anyone's ever said about my Twitch chat. It's also the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. I appreciate that. TSF, 3 steps far. I'm gonna try and make it that stick one day. What are your opinions? What do you think? What makes you start watching a Twitch stream? What makes you stick around longer term, beyond flavor of the month?
Well, I can start watching a streamer for anything. Like maybe the thing they're doing interests me, maybe I've heard good things about them. But what definitely keeps me is, I would say, variety and engagement. Like if they're doing something over and over again every single stream, that's going to get old no matter how enjoyable they are. Likewise, even if they're showing amazing new games and great content, but they never engage with chat or make part of their community, I mean, there's no difference between them and a YouTube video.
And,
So variety and engagement are definitely the big sells for me.
and it's actually fine that you say that because I mean that just shows very obviously that a lot of viewers are different, right? Because there are plenty of streamers out there. Crip comes to mind, who does nothing but stream Hearthstone, right? And Battlegrounds and card games, and he's like one of the largest streamers on Twitch, right? But you, on the other hand, don't want to watch someone who's literally doing the same thing all day long, right?
Right. Like I can appreciate a pro playing a game, and that's fun to watch for a time, but I mean eventually it's just them doing the same tricks over and over the same way.
Blitz, I think you are probably an avid stream watcher as well, but perhaps from another side of this, just being in the esports community. What is your opinion on this question? What makes you start watching streamers, but what makes you stick longer term on a single streamer?
So yeah, it honestly it can depend on a lot of things because obviously human emotions can change throughout the course of the day or even the hour. But yeah, going off of what you said as an esports viewer, sometimes you do like the consistency of one person playing a particular game over and over because that's what they made. That's how they became who they are. But, other days you're just in the mood for something different. So, like what Cody said, as far as variety goes, you could be interested in one thing one day and be interested in different the next. So keeping it fresh, not staying stale, that's one thing that'll keep a viewership going a long time. On the opposite side, though, as far as what would keep me away is if a streamer went away from who they are or to fit into something that they don't have any reason to be a part of. Because obviously, a streamer and an audience, it's the most important relationship. Without an audience, streamers just doing it for themselves. So for a streamer to go away from that and thinking that they're bigger than the audience, then that can deter a lot of viewers, especially me. So no matter what level you're at, recognizing your audience and how vital they are as part of the community is one of the most important things I can.
Okay, and you know this kind of like all adds up to like realizing that I mean, actually, you know, Rom, when you answered the question earlier, it did make me think of a quick follow up question. Are there examples of streamers or YouTubers you watch that really don't highlight their personality that much? Or do you have any examples? Does anyone, this open floor question, is there anyone you watch where where the streamer is not as much of a priority to you watching them? Odd question, but it kind of goes along with what Rom and Blitz said about the personality mattering more, which seems like this really vague, kind of nebulous thing. But I'm curious if any of you have any thoughts on that.
Nobody I watch, but I mean, I've poked into when when a game comes out, or if I fall down the rabbit hole of something like Humankind, or some game, and I just want a channel that streams just that game to figure out or what they're trying to do. No video, no mic, that kind of thing, and I'm just looking for gameplay. Then that's the kind of thing I tune into for a bit, but I don't think that keeps me too long term because my goodness, there are so many games to play and things to watch. So
Yaz mentions an example is anyone where they showcase a certain skill or trait rather than themselves. The speedrunning community comes to mind, right? You can have someone who's incredibly bland, and perhaps they, might not be a top speedrunner, quote unquote, like Caleb Hartz, for instance, or Old Time Siglemic, but I think of that, or I think of like esports pros, for instance. I think Leffen is probably the most famous villain in esports right now, and a lot of people watch and don't watch him for his personality specifically, right? Um, let me follow up with another question. And Blitz, you actually mentioned this, or you mentioned this in part, that there is such a thing as being a good audience member. What do you guys think is the onus on that for you guys who really consume a lot of streaming content? What makes somebody a good audience member? Is that important to a streamer? Are there any exceptions? Are you obligated to be a good stream viewer? I guess the greater question is what makes a good stream audience member, and at what point do you decide I want to be for this streamer a good audience member? I'll go in reverse order this time. Blitz, what have you got? What do you think?
So I can probably relate that to being like an audience member at a performance. I did take a lot of theater in high school, so audience etiquette was always a big part of performances. Respect the viewer or respect the streamer, follow their guidelines, stuff like no spamming in chat, no backseat gaming, stuff like that. So for me, it's just being respectful and, I mean, you don't necessarily have to enjoy what you're watching in order to be a good audience member, but you have to at least, follow guidelines and respect the streamer, what they want to do, because obviously they're the ones who are putting the show for you. They don't have to stream, obviously. They're just doing it because they love to perform for everyone. So just respecting, following guidelines, be nice to people.
3 steps. What makes a good audience member? What makes you decide that I'm going to be a good audience member? How important is all that?
I'd say to be a good audience member, like Blitz mentioned, no backseating, no making demands of it. I see it as like going to a movie in a way. Like you can react and you can cheer and you can be sad and you can enjoy things, but if you start standing up and trying to tell the movie what to do, you're just going to piss people off. The best way to be an audience member is to just support the streamer, try to enhance their good time without, forcing your views of what should be a good time into it. And I mean, I don't really have any particular thing that says I want to be a good audience member for this person. I just want to be, a good audience member in general. Because if the streamer's having fun, I'm usually having fun with them.
I guess to further elaborate on the question a little bit, right? Like I feel like there's like kind of 3 tiers to this, right? You are, well, maybe 4. You're a good audience member, you're an active audience member, you lurk, or you're a bad audience member, right? So like you usually fall under one of those 4 categories, right? And I think your average viewer is either a lurker or they are, shouts to all the lurkers in Twitch chat, by the way. Say hi if you're lurking. If you're a lurker or if you're an active member, that's probably usually what you are, right? But what makes you like a good audience member, right?
I think it kind of falls on a 4-square spectrum. Like up and down, you've got good versus bad, and left and right, you've got active versus lurking, right? Because you can be a good audience member and still just be lurking. If you just drop a supportive message and say, "Hey, I'm lurking, but good luck with whatever you're doing," that's a pretty good audience member right there.
Kind of what like Alan and Valiant are doing right now, right?
Kind of, yeah.
I like the compass meme. Yeah, TFS plays a lot of D&D. I think your answer kind of reminds me of Blitz's point about etiquette. It also reminds me of what the worst Twitch chat is, which is Undertale Twitch chat. That's an example of like backseating plus it's just all the worst parts of everything you two just said.
To be fair though, like Undertale's a great game with one of the worst fan bases of all fan bases.
I could speak broader about the fan base, but I just like I'm tired of Twitch chat just trying to like play the game for Undertale streamers. I have to get off this. Rom, save us. What makes a good audience member?
So, according to Rousseau's theory of the social contract, no, I'm not going to take that bet any further. But to take that point more seriously, I think it is a really sort of active thing that the streamer has to do to really be thoughtful about how they build their community, right? So, like Blitz and 3 Steps have been saying, what rules do you lay out as a streamer? Do you care if your chat backseats or not? Do you care if your chat spams or not? Do you care if they talk about stuff unrelated to the stream or not? All of that sort of determines what sort of folks are going to be comfortable being more active or not in chat. So I think, our behavior. So a good active member of the audience's behavior is really driven by what rules a streamer lays out and how active they are in, making sure that the audience sticks with them. So all that to say, shout out to Twitch mods, including even Demolition Dog.
Do you do you think Blitz was a good audience member just now by interrupting your content, but with a Twitch sub? Like, where does that fall? Where does that fall on the line?
Just makes me a simp.
It definitely does.
Word.
I feel so flattered. Droit, what makes a good audience member? How important is it?
I think following the rules as stated by the streamer is it. I think you can sometimes, at least, backseat drive, sort of. Like, if you have 75 gold and an open inventory slot, and we tell you to buy a pink ward, maybe you buy a pink ward.
I'm a little
but it depends. It's smaller things, not like giant. You should, I don't know, but I think the audience can help, but it's not necessary. There's a time and a place. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, let me kind of like, okay, so something I noticed, like, especially between your answer and TSF's answer, is like, I was kind of expecting, honestly, like, vaguer, more philosophical, interpretive answers, like, kind of like Rom's, but, like, from my point of view, like, what do I appreciate in audience members, right? I appreciate when you guys are like active and talking about the game I'm playing, but also just being there for me to talk to, right? Because if no one's in my Twitch chat, I mean, there are not many opportunities. Most of my viewers are very active viewers, right? But sometimes there'll be like 5 people on the stream, and all 4 of them will be lurking, and I'm just kind of talking to myself. I'm trying to figure out like what content do I have if I have no one to bounce the content off of, right? And that's what Blitz was talking about earlier with like theater audience reaction mattering so much, right? So from my point of view as a streamer, I think of this like more vague, like kind of, man, I really it's nice having someone who wants to have a conversation with you, but not. I don't really care about as much about. I mean, I do care when it's bad, but I care less about the specific conversation it is. Like you mentioned, 75 gold in the inventory, buy a pink ward. 3 steps mentioned backseat gaming as a more vague but still specific example. Well, I'm over here. I'm just like, man, I just need to let. Iskin just wrote down exactly how I feel about it. You feel like you just let out a held breath when you finally have something to talk about because someone in chat wants to have a conversation with you. That's kind of just how I feel about like that whole set of answers. Like, okay. So it's crazy cool just having this conversation, just thinking about like how everyone in this conversation comes from a different angle, and not just because I'm literally surrounded by you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of open the floor up. Twitch chat, I would love for you guys, if you have any questions that you'd love our thoughts on as a group, please let us know in chat. If anyone in my panel wants to ask a question to me specifically or to each other, if you have anything prepared, now's the time to do it. I'm running out of time to stall. What do you guys, as we're thinking about that, is there anything? So I just did a keynote, for instance, about what's coming up. Did anyone here watch the keynote? Anyone else here have time to?
Yeah, I caught that.
Oh wow. Okay, wow, I'm popular. What type of So what do you guys think about something like this roundtable to begin with? This is totally the Obama giving Obama a medal meme, but like, what how important are events like this or unique little things like this that directly put you guys into the show? How important are those? What do you think? Open question.
I think. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Vince.
I was gonna say it's
Blitz.
rock paper scissors. Okay, it's me. I mean, it's not like a necessity, but again, it creates more engagement, giving audience members a chance, a part of your event, a part of your stream. And that, I will say, is one of the things that I like the most about you in particular, is you have such a great connection with your audience and you do so many events for them. Stuff like fighting game lobbies, visual novel, shoutouts to Valhalla, which literally couldn't happen without your audience, where every character is a unique person. So just that engagement, that's probably the main reason why I keep going, and not just because I know you on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I didn't, just the fact that you engage with everyone, you make sure no one feels left out, have a great time. Stuff like that just makes the stream a lot more enjoyable. Someone just running through the motions, staying to the script, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Rom?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like Blitz said, you don't have to have a sort of meta event like this, but it's a lot of fun to just sort of pop in and see where you've been and where you're going. And I have a unrelated question. If we don't have a question from Twitch chat.
Well, Iskin asks Droit the Bold, how much are tires on the Batmobile? Thinking about it. Thinking about how many zeros are in the number.
He's just messaging Alfred.
It's all expensed.
Oh! Yes, at least 0. Rom, what question do you have for us? What do you think? What topics do you guys want to talk about?
I was just going to ask, how important do you think it is to have an interesting, an interesting streaming studio setup so that your chat can look at the stuff behind you and see how many recurring bits you can have.
There's a really funny meme out there where it was like it was Dr. Disrespect streaming with like, God, I don't even know, maybe like Dr. Lupo or something. And Dr. Lupo's stream was just like him in a box or whatever. And Dr. Disrespect was like in the studio with the mirror talking to himself, like the most like elaborate CG stage ever. And they were just both in like a Fortnite lobby or something, right? I'll answer that first, and then I'd love everyone else to. But I mean, I think it's just something that is an opportunity for you to show your personality outside of what you are saying and doing, right? And sometimes that matters a lot, sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes you have a boring personality, right? Droit just mentioned ketchup in the background, right? I'm kind of like memingly known for that now, right? And that wouldn't have happened without the set, right? As it is. Hey now. Iskin, your set is fantastic. I very vividly always remember your Jill and Dana in the background. What do you... Okay. Anyone else want to answer Rom's question there? Thoughts on how important studio is?
I mean, it's not in this particular Discord, but another Discord I'm in, I'm always famous for being the guy with the Ethernet room, because I'm sure you remember this back when we did Guilty Gear Strive lobbies, where my ping would just be absolutely horrendous because I was Wi-Fi connection. So if I were to show webcam right now, it would be a what's the guy's name who wiring? Basically, it would be their nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
So,
having created a few of those nightmares myself, I'm kind of a reformed wire ruiner by merit of my current job. Twitch chat or panel, any other topics that you want to talk about? What is just about being an audience in a stream? Okay. So Iskin makes a good point. That's an interesting question. The age of VTubers, how important the set is. That actually also expands. I like how Iskin he's a fucking weeb, and he really shows it. Because before you talk about VTubers, you talk about streamers with green screen, right? Man vs. Game comes to mind as my favorite example of like the forever green screen Twitch streamer. Twitch green screen. Does anyone here have a preference on what they care about between if you were a full-time streamer, like literally full-time, not just as a hobby, would you be a webcam streamer? Would you be a VTuber of some sort? Would you be on a green screen? What do you guys think?
I'll go off of Iskin's question. Gavin, when's your 2D debut?
We've done it. We've done Gavin VTubes. Have you ever met Gavin?
Gavin.
Oh.
You never met Gavin?
No, I'm a casual. I can get called.
It was earlier in the year. Or no, it wasn't. It was like 3 months ago.
That counts as earlier. It's been a long year. Therefore, every month has been long.
Someone link Blitz on the Gavin clip. I mean, I think that being a VTuber is its own brand specifically. Like, I think you can do it like jestingly and jokingly, like I do. But like, I wouldn't ever like full time transition to nothing but VTubing, right? Because like I haven't built up that character outside of like just the joking meme side of it, I guess. I actually think there are a lot of advantages to green screen though, and if I were in a different setup, I might consider it. Right now, I'm not really in the position to do so. I don't have that much room behind me to like support a green screen setup, and having worked with green screens plenty outside of Twitch, it's a lot. There's a lot of feet that I have to cover to have a green screen. Um, how important are well, how important are characters to you guys as streamers? Like, how important is the theme of a streamer, whether it is a VTuber or like someone who builds their brand around, like, so say that Droid was a massive streamer and he got famous because of his Batman impressions, right? How important are things like that to you guys? Open floor question.
Eh, I wouldn't say it's important, unless that's what you're specifically trying to build yourself around. I'd say it's an option as much as green screen or just regular stream servers.
This skin came to the stream because of Droid being incredibly famous and bold. If it's your gimmick and it brings people in, it's important, says Valiant. So, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I think, man, I don't want all roads to lead to VTubers, but that looks like it might be what's happening tonight. Is having that initial pull with your look and personality matters. Because if, like, you don't have that door open, no one can see your gameplay. I mean, I try to think of the streamers that I've been watching over the past year, and how important, like, their character is versus what they're playing and what their gameplay is, and I think I've been leaning towards personality. Everyone has a character, but some people, their character mixes with their brand, right? Like, it's very obvious what their character is immediately. As opposed to if I went to go watch This Guy's Toast, right? Like, I'd eventually learn he's the funny guy, but I wouldn't know that at a glance with all of his branding. I don't know. I have a kind of oh, go ahead. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
was gonna say, some people they could possibly what's Twitch surfing for like different gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It could be said for different personalities. Some people could just watch different VTubers for different personalities. Obviously, the popularity in that has skyrocketed dramatically in the past. So again, just how some people prefer different games, some people might prefer different styles of streaming. So if they find one particular streamer that they like, they could watch them for that. If they find one particular game, they could watch it for that. It's just a matter of preference for both.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have kind of a closing question with our last few minutes together, before our 8:30 events and interactive panel. And this, you don't have to answer this straight up. I'm gonna give you an out. I'm gonna let you save face. What can I do, Gavin XI, to make your streaming experience from as an audience member better? Right. At the end of the day, it's the Gavin Roundtable. If you don't want to answer about me specifically, what is something that you want to see from another streamer or streamers in general that you want to see more of in 2022? TSF, you first. Or let me add an addendum. What do you want to see from my stream, or what do you want to see more of that I've already been doing? Or
I
big.
really like it when you do community things, interactive things. Like, I know Noida's been slowly on the rise. I enjoy the chaos that can come with that. I also like community nights where we're reading through visual novels or those fight nights that you have. Things that actively engage the community. I feel like that's what sets a lot of streamers apart from folks that just have an audience on the side.
It's funny that you say that because we are actually actively talking now about how we're going to handle Nirvana when it comes out, the Valhalla sequel.
Ooh, nice, nice.
So we've been debating whether that's on my own, if it's a community read again. Are we ever gonna beat it in a timely manner if we do it as a community read? So, Rom, what do you think? What can I do differently or more of, or vaguely, what do you want to see more from streamers in 2022?
my needs are very simple. I want to see more marbles on stream and a return of the jumping jacks redeem, and I'll be happy in 2022.
Oh, oh, I'm glad McCrackness isn't here right now.
But I'm glad you answered that because my answer was just going to be redeeming jumping jack points.
It's worse because I've been putting it off, so everyone's just been banking more and more points. Druid, what can my stream do better or differently or more of?
Gavin, be your authentic self. Very serious.
Oh, writing that down. Gotta put on a post-it note. I do
Other than that, I
literally mean
really
I'm putting it on a
do
post-it note.
enjoy the voice acted visual novels that you guys do. Some of you have excellent voices.
It's funny that you say that because two of the members of our long-running Ace Attorney cast are both here, TSF and
Well.
Blitz.
Yes, and that was great.
Blitz, what do you want to see more of from twitch.tv/GavinXI, or what do you want to see from streamers in general more of in 2022? Blitz's gumshoe needs to return.
Just our voice acting group having a consistent schedule for once.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream, I know.
Well, that's a weird question, right? Because that's something we've been having to debate around, right? Like, if we do more group projects, that kind of takes away from all of them, right? Like, if we do more D&D, we can't do as much Ace Attorney, or, like, it's kind of the dilemma of we're doing this as friends and we're not paid to do it, right?
Right.
Like, can't give you guys a call time every week because just doing it for fun.
Yeah, there's always pros and cons to it, because on one hand, the pro is you get to have more engagement like this. But on the other hand, who knows what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. It's something that, me and Iskin have been talking about and trying to figure out for when we do the live tabletop. So, that's a real thing. Hello to Azure, who's joined us in chat. Blitz wants you to play more Potemkin. Oh, gosh, no. Cool. I think,
Iskin, just wait until you see my Tager.
Oh, actually, Iskin won't see any Tager because he won't even boot up BlazBlue. But,
that's it.
It's funny because these panels are separate, right? We have the stream audience panel right now, and then we're really going to have the community engagement and events and interactivity panel next panel. But there is a lot of overlap, and maybe I could have done that a little bit differently in retrospect and kind of merged the two and maybe had a third topic. But it's interesting. I'm trying to figure it sounds like okay. Well, let me offer one last question, actually, because I really want to get to the heart of this topic. Everyone generally says that more interactive is good. More community interaction is good. More lobbies are good. More streams with everyone in it are good. What single-player content do you guys want to see? Do you guys want to see single-player content? What's the correct percentage? Is it half-half? Is it occasional? Is community engagement a good thing because it only happens every once in a while? Last question of the night. I'm really curious about this. What's the balance? Rom, what do you think?
I want you to play single-player games that you think would work well on stream, because I don't think it's necessarily an either-or, right? A single-player game does not mean it is not a game that engages the community, because to go back to our first question, right? How important is it to engage your audience, whatever you're playing? So talking to chat and getting feedback that way, right? So a single-player game doesn't mean that you are suddenly not that you don't have a Twitch chat. You don't need to care about them. So I think I'd be happy seeing single-player games, just like I like to see you play League with everybody on stream too. So.
And that's actually the big inspiration for our next panel. Is our next panel's entire inspiration, or next panel, our next volume is Twitch Plays Gavin. So it's literally just me really putting you guys in the game, right? Like Pokemon Nuzlocke, for instance, is on the list for that volume because we named the Pokemon after Twitch chat, right? I mean, I think the idea is what's a streamable single player game. I mean, there are games that are not good single player games. Pyre was a big flop last year, right? You had to already be into the universe, and if you couldn't get invested, then it really was like, I don't really want to watch this, right? Druid. The balance between single player content and community engagement.
I think that you can definitely engage with the community while playing a single player game. You guys did had some rivalry back and forth the other day with
Skin mentioning that in chat with Ghost Runner, right?
The Ghost Runner, yes. And that was definitely, although you went a little hard on each other.
We spent 50 minutes, by the way, trying to shave off 10 seconds from each other. For context, anyone who didn't catch that live stream. Pyro was a series of streams just for Romulus. Yeah, I know every time I think about it. Blitz! The balance between community engagement and single-player games.
I mean, I could cop out and say Noida, and that way you cover both bases.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's stuff like that where, you love playing it, and it still gives your audience a chance to interact. It's not just you playing through a game and then having your watch, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. If the streamer wants to play a certain game, they'll play that certain game.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm trying to think of what else to say, because I know Valiant wants Detective Gumshoe to come back. So now I'm trying to think of all that way I can keep doing this voice. You're welcome, Valiant.
I need more Detective Gumshoe in my life too. We need to get through the Great Ace Attorney sooner rather than later. Yeah, I mean, Noida is kind of been the featured game of the last few months, really, with that literal perfect mix between literal interaction, right?
Yeah, it's also like the go-to. It's the comfort food of streaming for you.
Mm-hmm.
Done with the stream early, want to kill some time? How about a Noida run?
I will say, Gain, I think I meant to say Gavin, Valiant Knight, thank you for humoring us with so much Noida. It's fun to have a game where we can mess with you, but you have the skills to probably survive our meddling. That's fair. That's fair. I've been enjoying the game quite a bit more recently. I've been watching more of it. Okay.
I would honestly put a vote towards either horror games or story-driven games. Things where we get to see your very in-the-moment reactions to things.
Yeah, to that end... Oh, please finish.
No, I was just going to add to, seeing you jump and react to horror games. That's always been fun with other streamers for me. I enjoy watching other streamers go through RPGs and stuff that I've played through and seeing how they handle these situations that I went through, seeing how their reactions are compared to mine or what mine would be if I hadn't played the games. More of that would be a good single player experience that could still involve your community.
I'm not much of a horror gamer. I'm actually really bad at them. I don't enjoy them that much. I don't enjoy horror movies either. Would I do it for the views? I mean, maybe I could be convinced. Maybe that's a future incentive. Maybe October horror nights are a real thing. Maybe. Someone write that down. Keep it in mind for when we get to volume, what would be? It would be volume 7 by then, or 8. But maybe that needs to be an incentive in the summer for fall horror. I'm
terrible with horror too, so tell you what, we can play Phasmophobia and work on not screaming so much.
I have VR too. Could do both with Into the Radius, Stalker VR like.
Going off of what you said about story-based games, I would love to see I guess the main example I could think of would be like a Quantic Dream game from you.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the audience can maybe influence you, but ultimately we would like to see what your decisions would be, because the game just based off of what you decide, and I think that would be a really interesting way to not only watch you play the game, but also get a better as a person and not just a streamer. I think that would be really neat.
I think we did. I've played. So Valiant, for instance, right now is streaming Beyond Two Souls, right? Which is the type of game that reminds me of that. I'm trying to think if we've done any like interactive visual novels recently. Um, Nothing comes to mind as far as Quantic Dream like games go. But I've played most of them. I've played everything but Detroit Become Human. Um, you're talking about story games. I kind of want to follow this up on TSF really quick because we're running out of time. What are your opinion on like the Tales of series? Like, if we got a group to do a full 4-person playthrough of Tales of Vesperia, do you think that like kind of hits the niche of kind of like what are my reactions to the story, for instance, right? Or is
I
that
think
like
that would.
too long?
I think it would that one would definitely fall under too long. Like I'd love to see your reactions to some Tales of games, and it's great if you can get a consistent group of people, or
Mm,
even just one or two people to consistently play with you.
mm.
But that's like the shortest one I can remember playing
They're all
was like
60-hour
50
epics.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50, 60 hours. So that's going to be a commitment. But I mean, I'd love to see you do it personally. But the
Mm.
question would be whether you wanted to commit to something for that span of time.
Yeah, some games that are perfect fits are not streamable, really, right? Okay. So, I'm gonna open the floor to closing thoughts. Any closing thoughts on being a good stream, just on the role of the stream audience in general? We'll go back in normal order. Droit, closing thoughts as we wrap up the panel.
I'm glad to be included. That's all.
Oh,
I'm just happy to be
All right.
here.
Yeah, man.
Romulus,
Thanks for inviting me.
no problem.
No, yeah, I think it's like I said before, it is awesome of streamers who manage to build a community of folks that interact not with the streamer, but with each other as well. It's in especially in the forever year that we are currently living in. It's nice to be able to have that interaction digitally when we can't necessarily have it in person at the moment because of the pandemic.
Closing thoughts, TSF.
Just that I appreciate that you do panels like this. I don't feel like it's necessary for a streamer to do this, but the fact that you do shows that you actually are committed to stuff like this. So props to you for that.
Thank you. Blitz, closing thoughts on the role of the stream audience.
Y'all are some pretty cool dudes.
You know what? It's hard to go out on anything but that. So this was the bold Romulus, 3 Steps Far, and Blitz the Spartan. We'll be back after a short break as I load up music. Oh, this is awkward. As I load up music, we'll be back after a short break with our next panel, and Gavin, why is the room backwards? We'll answer that after this short break. Thank you guys so much for joining this panel. We'll be back in 5.
Goodbye for now.